with these ones. And as usual, when you answer, try as much as possible, where applicable, to use scriptures to back up your prison. Try as much as possible to use scriptures to back up your point of view. And as usual, we'll also get words from the floor. Okay? So, introduce yourselves. Introduce yourselves.
My name is Sister Dannique. My name is Sister Dannique. My name is Sister Thelesha Gordan from Women's Village.
My name is Dalton Esdaille. Praise the Lord.
Good night, my name is Sister Fayon.
Praise the Lord Jesus. My name is Sister Sandra Esdaille.
Right. Okay, so next question. Should Christians, or children of God, sell or serve alcohol? Should Christians, children of God, sell or serve alcohol? If you are an entrepreneur, you have your own business, it would be applicable for you to sell alcohol. If you're a bartender, or if you work at a restaurant, taking orders at the restaurant, you work at the bar. Or if it's a school function, this is a high school function or a fete, and as a parent or a teacher, you're offered, if you were offered the opportunity or you were asked to sell at this function, what's your stance on the child of God serving or selling alcohol?
I would say no with all capital letters. Reason being, no with all capital letters. Reason being, the word of God tells us that wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whosoever is partaking of it is not wise. Right. So that tells us, but on the health side now, we have what do you call it? It is bad for the body. Reason why I say that. You see how when people drink alcohol, you see how they behave, drunk and disorder, carry on themselves, how they display themselves. This is not a good behavior or good reaction to others to emanate, praise the name of Jesus. And also, it can be damaging to your health because we have a thing called, what called the liver, right? And what we consume in all of these liquids, not knowing that we are damaging our body parts, such as our liver. And we cannot live. It is impossible for us to live without your liver. So we're doing harm to ourselves, both spiritually and physically, if we get you get caught up in drinking or consuming or using alcohol, praise the Lord. That's my point on it.
Praise the Lord Jesus. My take on it, although the Bible says when there's a mocker, strong drink is raging. At one point we also encouraged Peter to take a little wine for the Paul. Encourage Timothy to have a little wine for the stomach infirmity. And although the effects of alcohol can be intoxicating and detrimental to the person, you selling it, if it's your way of gaining income, can also be said to if you're working in a store that have knives, matches, gasoline, ropes that can be detrimental to other people as well. Are you gonna say that you're not gonna sell a knife that people use to murder? The same as you're gonna not sell alcohol because you're gonna cause intoxication. What you can do, if it can be avoided, you can avoid it. But if you're in a situation where it is your source of income, you also have to use wisdom, and probably you could, even if you're selling it, you could shed a little positivity at the person and probably say, maybe don't drink too much, cause everything has to use within moderation. So you could be there to shed a little light of positivity to the client, and that person might not even consume that much for the night because you're there trying to encourage them not to drink too much, not to get intoxicated. You could say, remember you have to drive, remember you have to drive responsibly. You could be that source of enlightenment in that situation as well. So you could have to look for the positive side of every situation. But so it's not a different situation. It just with moderation. If you can avoid it, we're not gonna say as a Christian you're gonna open a bar shop. But as she mentioned, if it's a school event, most schools don't really allow alcohol. But if you go to an event that someone need assistance, that you have to serve it, I don't see a problem with it because you're not indulging in yourself, and you can also help to encourage someone who may seem to be excessive at that point in time. Thank you.
So I would say no, and with many reasons. So for example, I'm gonna deal with each individual place that you mentioned first. So let's start with the bar. For me, as a child of God, you wouldn't open a bar. That would not be the type of establishment that you would be interested in opening, because if I open a bar, the first thing that is going to be associated with me is that I'm selling liquor, I am selling cigarette, I'm selling ganja, and it's going to become a place where all sorts of persons hang out, bad boys, young boys. The language there also is not going to be the language that I want to hear, and also the music that I will have to be played is going to be the music that these people want to hear. So everything about that is going to be wrong. Also, you can't say that, all right, I open the bar and with discretion now, when Brother Dalton come, I'm only going to give him one cup and remind him to say, oh, remember that you're going to drive down to Boyd's. It's not going to work. Because if I have my money, you cannot tell me how much to drink. You don't have control over that. So I would say not open a bar. Also, if you're out looking jobs, there are multiple types of jobs. There is no way you can tell me that the only job you can actually get is the one to work in the bar. That's not true. And if it's a situation where you don't have a job and you're searching, search a little harder, pray a little harder. And if you can't find anything, do not accept it. Pray a little harder, try something else. Because working in the bar or opening a bar is not the only place that you can literally gain employment. So that's the bar. In terms of like for school events, teachers or workers of the school are not allowed to serve alcohol. But if the roles were flipped and they were asking, the answer is no. Because if I give it to you, I am helping you to sing. Because there's no guarantee that I can say, all right, because you're my friend, I'm only going to give you one beer. And the conversation also is going to be different. Because you see me there selling the beer. By the time you go down the road and say, oh, you know, so Sister Fayon selling the beer, that's going to be the conversation. And if I do it once, more than likely I'm going to have to do it twice. And not because the person is your friend, that doesn't mean that, all right, because you're their friend and they're saying, all right, I want to drink it, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it. At some point in time, you have to tell your friends no and stand up for what you actually believe in. So if that's the situation where they want you to sell the rum at school, you say no. And if they ask you why, you tell them why. But nobody can force you to do anything that you don't want to do. Also, So it goes back to your choices, it goes back to options, and for me, bar wouldn't be the first establishment. It wouldn't be on the list of things that you would actually want to do because bar sells alcohol. That's the only thing it sells, alcohol. And apart from the spiritual side of it, it's not good for your body overall.
Alright, my perspective, I mean, great with Sister Fayon and Sister Esdaille. The Bible did say wine is a mocker and strong drink is raging, and he that is deceived is not wise. Alcohol has a creep-up effect that persons think that they can control the level of intoxication or inebriation. But at the end of the day, because it has a creep-up effect, people tend not to realize that they're getting drunk. And this can result in things like driving under the influence, also removing all inhibitions to do things that you would not normally do. So I don't want to be a proponent for that, and I don't want to be an enabler as well. In other words, I'm helping you destroy yourself. But the Bible did not say that alcohol in and of itself is a sin. And as Sister Thelesha rightly said, Bible said, let your moderation be known unto all men. The Lord is at hand. So moderation is also a key thing as well. But for me, I don't feel comfortable buying alcohol for persons or selling alcohol to persons. So if I have an establishment, if I have a store, if I'm an entrepreneur, alcohol will not be on the list of items to sell. Also, there's a reason for that too. When persons are in business, they're trying to make a profit. So if you are a bartender or you're an entrepreneur, you limiting persons drinking will be limiting your funds. All right, so you just have this stock and can't sell it, right? But if I have sodas, I will sell it. All right, albeit they say alcohol sells more. It makes more money. I have seen in school situations though, the ministry does not support alcohol on the premises, but there's something they go to other premises to sell the alcohol. I've seen where alcohol is sold by the school and they make money. But I've always, when I'm in managerial positions, I voice my disapproval of it. But most times my voice is overridden by the powers that be. And if I had the handle, it will not be sold. They'll fire me. There are situations though where persons will have to work in restaurants though. And the restaurant menu will have on many items. And if somebody comes in to buy steak and want a cup of wine, in a case like that, a glass of wine, so I say a cup, then, you know, I would maybe could see where the person would want to perform that. I myself still will be uncomfortable, that's why I won't be a server or a waiter. I will seek other employment, all right, because I don't want to enable persons. But I can see something like that can happen, and you know, it's not the main item of the establishment, it's something that persons do. But I've also seen on movies where bartenders have a rule, if you see the person is taking too much, then you can cut them off and refuse to give them any more. That has been seen on TV. I haven't seen that in real life, though. But that's my contribution. Sister Dannique.
I agree with everybody going on from Thelesha. Yeah, I would not work in a bar, to be honest, on servings because I have a heavy conscience, and if I serve in a person who wants more than one drink, like more, just keep multiplying over the time, and then they leave. Next thing you know, you hear on the news, they get in a car accident. I can't live without them because I would be thinking to myself, I could have avoided that, I could have cut them off and whatnot. So they could have hurt themselves or they could have hurt somebody else, and like, you know, so that I would not be able to live with that.
All right, very good. Just to try a little
thing in there.
Yes, I heard Dalton mention way between serving alcohol and serving sodas. So do you know these sodas have so much sugar and can cause diabetes, and then persons get diabetes and lose limbs and stuff like that. So how you really balance, because the alcohol, the excessive alcohol can cause, cirrhosis of the liver, can cause persons to have internal bleeding and stuff like that. But at the other end, the excessive sodas can increase the blood sugar. If the person diabetes, sometimes they be on a medication for life, they lose a limb. Yes. So
I agree with what you're saying. A Rasta lady actually approached me on that. She said that people are against, the substance that they use that they smoke and so. And she said to me, well, do you know sodas are just as bad. And I didn't fight her on it. I did agree with her. A lot of the things we consume, let's go even further, I know we on drinks, but even those sweets and gummies that we give to children that have no nutritional value whatsoever, and from the child on the one, they got up and down the place got these things. And you tell people that, what is this helping your child? How is this helping your child? The child is full of sugar, but get them hyper, and the parent will watch you like they want to fight you. You don't want me to give my child what? I did, but then somebody just save energy and stuff, but give the child a sweetie can add to the child's nutritional benefits. Right, yeah, so go ahead. So I do agree with what you're saying, but there's a stigma on alcohol, and as children of God, because supposedly we have they think beer versus wine. Beer more have a stigma than wine. Right? And as Sister Thelesha said, Paul said, take a little wine for the stomach's sake and for the often infirmities. I always tell people, if you're not infirm, leave the wine alone. And also, you have medication now.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Well, okay, God knows. The nurse is here. The nurse is right here. It's okay.
no, but actually, a doctor, this child was telling me the story that the doctor actually told him that now and again, if you sit down and have a glass of wine, it's good for the heart, but just make sure you drink a lot of water. So if you have, and it's not that you're drinking a whole big glass, that is actually a serving, the glass might be this big. It's just, a little bit in the glass. So if you have that, and it's not an everyday thing, and once you drink that, you make sure you follow it up with, even a whole bottle of water behind it. But he says it does a good thing for the heart, actually.
And more specifically is the red wine, yes. And they only recommend 8 ounces of it.
Okay, back to the sugar. Okay? Okay, back to the sugar. Sugar is good and sugar is bad. And salt is good and salt is bad. If you use it excessively, then it is bad. But when you use it for your good, it is good because some people who is diabetic, they're so bad that when they faint, and they fall in the faint, you got to give them sugar to drink to revive them. So you can fat down on the sugar and say you eat good.
Okay.
Because you got to eat good and you got to bad. And it's also with the salt. Sometimes you may want to go so low, you got so much cramp. You just try to put it on your tongue, suck it and drink some water, and you pop back up good again. So you got to eat good and you got to eat bad.
No, I agree. I do agree with that. But the scenario I gave was giving a child a sweetie.
Okay, children do have diabetes diabetes.
What? So?
Because I have a neighbor, and he's a little boy. I have a neighbor, and he's a young fellow, and he's married. Sometimes when he mother in here to give him the insulin, right? She'll buy sweets and give him to pump him up.
Right, but that's individual to that child. For example, if paracetamol is good, you pop up, just go pop up paracetamol now. That'd be crazy because you have no purpose of using it.
No.
But so in that specific case, the sugar has a benefit to the child, and the child has the low sugar,
Yes.
right? Right, but in general, having a sweet just created for chewing and sucking on and whatever, just for recreational purposes, that's not good.
You can give them a little piece, there is nothing.
No, it still has no benefit.
Yeah, the body needs sugar. The body needs
You
sugar.
got to cut it back something.
Yeah.
The body needs
They
sugar.
can use a
Body.
little piece.
No, okay, let me explain though. The sugar that your body needs is the natural sugar that things that juices will produce, and not the juice that you put Kool-Aid and water and cane sugar with. That kind of juice. Food juices. Right. And also, we can say, all right, we don't know why I'm singing you, I'm not singing. Huh?
Some mango that just like sugar.
Yeah, but it's in a natural state, which is easily broken down by the body. Remember, there's nothing in and of itself that is bad. But you have to, but that's what we came to say, the moderation. And remember, a child who is healthy, I can say it without no water in my mouth, have no use for a sweetie. None whatsoever. Give that child natural juices, give that child the ability to drink water, and then that child will be an okay child. That sugar is easily broken down. And added to that, I come to you for and say, the starch that you eat, I hope I'm saying it properly, will be converted into sugar in your body, so you still will have a lot of complex things in your body, compounding upon compounding. So don't work with the sugar content you're gonna get. Things you eat gonna produce sugar in your body, so you have to worry about that. Boom.
I totally disagree.
Okay, no problem.
Come here, Fayon.
The mic.
You had a nurse. You have a nurse. She's not here right now. And she used to feed that little boy direct everything that good. Right? Everything that little boy eat, there ain't nothing like to do with sweet and nothing. And one day she went to work with her. And he fainted. And one of the nurses gave him a sweet. And she said, no. And she said, why are you giving this sweet? I said, because he fainted. I mean, he sugar is enough. Right? When she tried out, she was very low, so he did a 70 pocket
Yeah, but
because he was eating healthy, he was drinking healthy food, drinking juice. No,
Yeah, if you don't even know that guy.
no, because we were minding him, so I will tell you.
Yeah, but even that, you still don't let people
No,
too
but
many
she don't
people
give
do
him
so.
nothing like that, because the food that she bring, everything that was good and healthy.
You talk, you still don't let people through condition.
You can't say that you wasn't a deal.
But that's what I'm saying, just that sometimes you don't know. Wait, but Fayon was saying something.
After Fayon, we have Brother Deleon.
All right, so I have to totally disagree with Brother Dalton for many reasons.
Yeah, go ahead.
One, sugar is good and sugar is bad, just like everything else. Vegetables is good and vegetables is bad once you have it in moderation. Because, for example, we are referring to a child, you said it's bad to give a child a sweet. If I'm only giving the child one sweet for the month, sweet is carbohydrate. So if I'm only giving protein and I'm only giving minerals, that means the child is not receiving any carbohydrate. That means they're not having a balanced diet. Having a balanced diet means that I'm eating from all the food groups. So if I remove carbohydrate, it's very obvious that the child is lacking something. So we have to eat from all the food groups in moderation.
Sweet is not the food group, by the way.
It's not
Sweetie
a food group, but it falls under a food group, which is carbohydrates.
It's a waste of time to eat the sweet. And it's not carbohydrate, the nurse is not carbohydrate, by the way. Right, I totally disagree with you.
Good night, everybody. I'm having a discussion, and I said I have to put my thoughts on it. It's a very interesting discussion, and it's something I'd like to talk about. Concerning the situation with the sugar and the sweets, that's something that always concerned me from something I observed that when you give children sweetie from a young age, we actually feed into an addiction, because sugar is something that we can be addicted to. I know some person are quite examples of that. And we teach these behaviors from a young age. And concerning the argument of you have to eat from the different food groups, although we need sugar in our body, there are different sources. We need fat in our body as well. There are good fats, there are bad fats. There are saturated fats, unsaturated fats, trans fats, and all these different things. We need sugar in our body, yes, but there are good sources, there are bad sources. And if we are going to propose to children to eat food good, we should encourage them to eat from the good sources. And if we're going to eat from the good sources, we need to teach them about the body as well. The reason why we eat these things, the reason why we shouldn't eat certain things. And I'm not saying we can indulge in certain things here and there. But I think the most important thing for us to do is to eat the major, that is the most important thing that are healthy. Yes, and have a balance, guys.
Okay, I
agree with the gentleman, that's all right.
What I want to say also is that no two body is the same. Alright, because I grew up very thin. Elsie could attest that we were very skinny, as we normally say, we were very skinny, we were small. And bony then, if you want to say that. And who used to consume more sweet than me? But I also was a very active child. No.
Confirm.
What I'm saying, what might not affect Sherise won't affect me. I grew up eating sweets, and up to now, thank God, I'm not bored, I have to say. I don't suffer from anything called diabetes. Sugar diabetes. So that's why I said no two person body is alike. All right, even in a family of children, like siblings and stuff like that, no two body is alike. So what might not do me anything might happen to do Elsie hurt. So I just had to put that out there.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think you have exhausted.
The meat, I was made to understand by a doctor that you must not trim off all the fat off the meat because your body needs fat.
Yes.
Some people, when they clean the meat, they trim off all the fat, and it's not good. You leave on some of the fat because it's essential for your body.
Yes, that is, the body does need fat. You can get the healthy fats. Yes, good fats, healthy fats.
Give us some examples.
Avocado, olive oil, those are good. Healthy fats, coconut oil. Yes, those are good fats. And the fishes, the omega-3s, those are good fats. Yes. Salmon, sardines, yes, those are good. So the next question, let's move on to another question. Listen to this carefully, and as usual, you're going to back up with scriptures where you can. Should a child of God dabble in politics, one, or astrology, namely zodiac signs, two, or be a member of secret societies or fraternities or sororities? Should a child of God dabble in politics, astrology, or be a member of a secret society? Your thoughts?
I was thought in the Bible days gone by, when we had those leaders, yes, they were people of God, right?
Yeah.
And they ruled well, okay? So, but when we look at in our time now, things are so corrupt now that I would not really encourage a child of God to get into that, because as Pastor always said, if you're going there, you're going to start off good, and then you start to get corrupt. You have to tell lies to cover up here and to cover up there, and you know, maybe you start doing things under the table and things like that. You're not being honest then, right? So it will have a bad reflection on you as a child of God. So I would not really say it would be maybe we could try to go in and make a difference as well too. All right, but it is a ticklish topic, but it is very easy for you could start off good as I said, but you could get caught up as you stay in there. So, the next one is again?
Astrology.
Astrology? You mean?
Zodiac sign, I'm a Gemini, so every day I read my horoscope.
Well, that is foolishness.
Yes.
I would say it is foolishness because I fall on in the sign Sagittarius, but I don't really believe in nothing like that. But you know, some people come to you, what is your sign? What sign is that? But you know, within my birthday, I know I'm a Sagittarius. So I would just tell them, well, I'm a Sagittarius. Some of them go as far as to read your palm and these different things, and God knows the future. He holds the future in his hand. So I wouldn't allow nobody. And also remember we were small. I don't know if Elsie remember this. You used to do a little thing. Oh, you had having some lines in there. When you get big, you're gonna get 5 children, you're gonna get this, and you know, you just play around as children. But as I said earlier, God has the future in his hand, and no one can dictate what the future holds. So I would not encourage anyone as a child of God to get involved in these things. And number 3?
Be a member of a secret society or fraternity or so on. The fraternities and sororities they're mostly found in colleges. The Beta and the Sigma Phi and Alpha Kappa Alpha and
I don't really know about that, so somebody just take
or secret society.
Yes. Well, for me, my ideal situation is that a child of God will be in charge of the running of the affairs of the country. But in reality, it doesn't happen. The politics that occur in our time can corrupt and has corrupt persons, and it's not designed for persons who have integrity for me and also strong spiritual views, because you will not be allowed to impose your belief on persons, especially in the so-called democratic societies. And if I'm a child of God and I believe in a standard, I believe in a doctrine, I will preach that doctrine, and I will expect persons to be converted based on my beliefs in the oneness of God and the baptism in the name of Jesus Christ. So politics is a very difficult thing. And just for information, in St. Kitts, you can't be a minister of religion and be a minister of government. It is in the law. You have to choose. Right? So even in St. Kitts, they don't want me to. Here in America, they don't want church and what? State. Right, they want a separation. Albeit everybody in God, we trust they got all over the place. That don't even make sense. All right. For second one was it?
The second one was astrology.
Astrology, yeah. Children of God should not be saying I'm a Capricorn or a Sagittarius or these things. And there was a palm machine in Amory at one day. I don't remember, but I remember.
Yes.
I think I lose a couple dollar quad checking it out. But out of curiosity, I think, I believe in it and so. And then some persons go to some Chinese places, they get fortune cookie. And some persons really do believe in these things, I know some people don't want no relationship with nobody unless the sign say that get the sign match. What kind of nonsense and so. Or the day went bad because they were cancer. So what nonsense is that? Children of God should not even waste them on them things. God, we believe in a living God and the true living God. So we're not dealing with those things. And for the young people who might go to America, who might join to go to these colleges and so, we have to be careful of secret societies, because When you go to these secret societies, you have to make a pledge or oath to remain silent on things you see, and sometimes they put you to do things to enter into the same sorority, fraternity, or secret society, things that are not spiritual. And then so they put you to do things to other people. Some extreme situation is maybe go kill somebody, another extreme situation is to set up somebody. You know? But we children of God can pledge our allegiance to no other power but God. Matter of fact, that even in America expect the children to pledge allegiance to the flag. We children of God are not supposed to pledge allegiance to the flag. Alright, because God is higher than the flag of Saints and Leaders. When the rules of Saints and Leaders is in contravention of God's rules and law, or contradict God's rules and law, God takes the preeminence. So you pledge yourself to God. As what the guy said, I've opened my mouth to the Lord, and I cannot take it back. I think I said it.
Yes, Jesus. I just want to agree with what Brother Dalton and what Sister Esdaille said. No, children of God are supposed to indulge or dabble in the criteria you said. And as Colossians chapter 2, verse 8 said, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of this world, and not after Christ. And this scripture back up that we should not be involved in politics. As you say, it can be politics. It screw your integrity. If you're involved in astrology, you're taking away your focus from God and starting to believe in the universe, believe in the moon and the stars. So you take your focus away from God. As if you join a secret society, you might be swearing allegiance to another creature, a thing, person other than God, and you might find yourself involved in dark things, per se. So, yeah, so you know.
So for me, I don't believe that a Christian should pursue politics because it's not going to end well. A Christian is going to have their beliefs, but the political system is different because, for example, when it comes down to topics of abortion, even though you are the prime minister or you're the president, if like the House votes for a particular thing, you're going to have to pass it. But you probably believe otherwise to say, oh, I don't believe in abortion. But because the House would have voted for something else, you have to go ahead with it. Also, there are other things that, for example, like gay marriages and different stuff that we don't believe in. It's like you're going to have to pick a choice. It's either you're going to pick to run for the president and these are the things that the people want, or you're going to stand up for Jesus and make the right decision. So even you may go in there, start off being a good Christian, but it's not going to end well because you're going to have to tell lies, you're going to have to steal, you're going to be in some compromising positions, and your integrity will come into play, and you're going to be in some uncomfortable position. And you're going to have to make the choice, which is not necessarily the right choice for Jesus, but it is the right choice for the people that is in front of you. Also, to keep your popularity, you're going to have to compromise again, because if the people like Satanism, that's what you're going to have to go with, or else they're going to vote you out. So the decisions that you're going to have to take will not be of God or what you should be doing. So little by little, you will have to be stepping out of the church, and at some point you'll be completely out, because it's going to come down to the point where you're going to have to choose between the church or running the country. For example, like schools in the US, they can't have devotion, you cannot have Bibles. And as the president, this is something that you're going to have to come up and say, all right, as the president, I don't believe that you're supposed to have Bibles. But then you come to church on Sunday, you're reading from the same Bible. So you're actually contradicting yourself. And at some point, you're just going to have to stand somewhere. You can't stand in the middle and say, I'm going to take some of the Bible today and I'm going to take some of what Parliament says tomorrow. It's just not going to work. As it regards to astrology and the moon and the stars and all of those things, I don't believe in them because this whole thing, oh, you're a Leo. Oh, I know a Leo last year, you know, they were bad. Like, all of that really doesn't make sense because you could even know my sister and we have the same mother and the same father. That doesn't necessarily mean that you know me. So if you get so fascinated with the moon and the stars, you're going to start thinking about other things. You start believing in the star. Oh, the star is so bright, so that means you're going to get wealth. Oh, the moon is out today, something bad is going to happen. So all these things. And persons who believe in those things don't believe in God. They're like atheists. They don't believe in like God and stuff like that. They totally believe just in the star, the moon, the cow, and just all of that. That's what they really believe in. So, and they believe in, like, for example, if they see the moon a particular way, it means something this month. And if the moon is another way, it means something else. And, oh, the blood moon is out, be careful, no, it's dangerous stand. So all these things. But these things are not in the Bible and it's not of God. So we have to be careful of, like, what you watch or you indulge in, because if you start reading it at some point you probably get fascinated, and today you read it for one day and then tomorrow you spend half of your day and that's what you're reading. With secret societies and stuff like that, I would say no, because it's like a covenant and the only covenant you should be in is the one for God. And these covenants are like blood covenants. Sometimes you have to sacrifice your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, who knows. But that's how it normally works. You have to sacrifice somebody, and whatever happens there, you cannot speak. So even if they kill somebody, you can't speak. Normally they have like signs and symbols that they draw onto their skin, and things that are demonic that we don't believe in. And you start acting all weird, you start seeing all sorts of things, and it will just not end well for you. So I believe make the right choice. Choose Jesus, not astrology, not secret society, not the stars, not the moon.
Okay, so for politics, it doesn't make sense you would try run for politics if you're into that kind of stuff, because if you are a Christian and you strongly believe, like Sister Fayon said, if you don't believe in abortion, but the whole party wants like to pass the law that abortion is legal, then you have the pastor, but then other people will look at you like, you know, what you believe in killing an unborn baby. So it doesn't make sense that you go in and, you know, you don't believe in what everybody else have to say or to like please the whole world. So yeah. For astrology is dumb, to be honest, because a lot of people have it determining their life and the future and who they could be with and whatnot, because if you're not a particular sign, then be like, oh, you're not a Leo, so I don't want to be with you. Leos are weird and them kind of things there. So I feel like it's dumb to believe in astrology and whatnot. And for the secret society and like cults on a whole, those things, they corrupt people, and it will lead you to do many wrong things. And as a child of God, you should be able to stand firm and like just stay away from those kind of situations.
Thank you. Anything from the floor before we move on?
Astrology. The part with astrology, right? I had an experience with something. Okay? I was able to say Martin, it's Saturday. Right? And while I grew up there, I was going through a magazine and the same thing pop up. So I was reading it, so they say your horoscope today is that don't travel the next day because the flight will probably crash. I was like, no, Jesus, what the heck is this? Right? But I prayed and I went to St. Martin still. And when we were coming back from St. Martin, the plane, we got up off of the runway, yes, went, and then everything just come and it crashed right on the airport. Lights off and plane, everything. So he went, oh, Jesus, what is this? Right? And then the man said, yeah, they have a hydraulic problem, so everybody must come off of the flight. They fixed the flight the night and I didn't went back on it. I went in the morning on another flight.
So you believe in what you
No, I was kind of like saying sometimes. So when I come back, I said, I wonder if it was true or God was just testing me or whatever. I don't know. So I wondered if it was true.
And what do y'all think?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I feel like you can trigger you, right? But it's not that. It's God getting still come back to God. Once God getting credit for everything, it's you know.
Yes.
So we get dog backing outside and I mean, okay, don't go outside. You know, you know, whatever, God gets the credit.
It would be incredible if it happened again. Not just the one time, maybe if we meet the next week or the next month. But there's always that thing because full moon in the hospital is called problem. A lot of people coming early, a lot of baby born, things are very busy, Friday the 13th, things like that. Like, so it just be happen like when it happen over a period of time, they just say, okay, full moon out, I be careful. And
like when the holiday, like Easter Monday and Big Monday and all them holidays come up, and they just say, be careful when you go to the sword because somebody always drown when school is on holidays. It used to happen every time. So
Somebody take a boom and sweep the foot, but still get married. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, a lot of these things is people manifest themselves because you know it's a full moon. You're looking for things to happen. I mean, when it was no full moon, the hospital was busy and nobody noticed. But now it's a full moon, the hospital busy and they kind of try things to right. Say it's all because it's the full moon. But people sometimes or most of the times because it happens in tradition and people, you know, run with it. They look for it so they don't see it. Most of the times. Yeah, but as everybody on the panel rightly said, you have to put your trust in the true and living God, not in your horoscope or your sign, and not in these secret sororities and these secret societies. These are things we really have to stay away from. Okay, we're gonna have one last question. Say again, you have something to say?
Me? No, see, I think you're conflating with it.
So one last question. One question. Okay. So, well, it's two questions, but I'm going to join them. So it's all about marrying, the type of person that you would marry. So, no, this is for the unmarried. But anybody could answer. Would you marry to your significant, with your girlfriend or boyfriend, fiance, if you want to put it like that, after finding out they contracted HIV, after admitting either to being unfaithful or getting a bad blood transfusion or being infected from drug use or a needle?
Yes. We really want that day.
Would you marry when you love the person, you've been with them for years, they are like a part of you? Would you still go through with a marriage if you found out that they contracted HIV, whether it's because they were unfaithful to you, or they had a medical procedure where the blood was tainted, or they got infected from maybe getting a tattoo with a used needle or something.
Okay, HIV positive patient not necessarily mean that they have AIDS. It depends on the just HIV.
Yes.
Okay, because HIV persons doesn't mean that they have AIDS, which is the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So, in that case, if you're so in love with this person, if it's an innocent contraction of the HIV, as I said, where you need to use, you need a break or tattoo, if you wish, you could go through with it. Because they have tests you can do to test the viral load to make sure they are not infective or can cause transmission. They have medication available that can cause further suppression of the virus. So you as a panel can be safe, and plus there are safe barrier methods you can use during intimacy as well. So there are other things in place that could protect you from the person.
So would you marry
That's not bad.
But okay, yes, I would. If it was my intention to, I will do it. But just have take all the safety precautions. We just go get advice from the experts and do whatever testing we have. But you mentioned if he cheated, I'm gonna put some doubt with me and say if he got innocently contracted.
Yes, Mr. Cut, that's
Right,
about it.
Right.
Okay?
So is the method of transmission will change your mind?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Anybody else?
I was gonna say when you bitch come on crossing, but I don't have it so.
The answer is no.
What advice you would give your son?
No matter if you love the person.
I still love it, that doesn't mean I have to marry. We have to apply wisdom, and this is a situation for wisdom. Number one, if you're a child of God, you won't be out getting tattoos, so I'm not responsible for that. If it was innocently, you went to the doctor and situation happened, I still love you, but not gonna work out.
So what if the shoe was on the other foot and you innocently contracted HIV? Would you want the person to stay with you?
Honestly,
Uh-huh.
that is up to them. But for me, even if I love you, we're together.
No, but would you want the person to stay with you?
That's up to them.
No, what I'm asking you, if you would like, I know it's up to them, yes, but would you like the person to stay with you?
I don't want to hold on anybody's life.
May I ask you that? It's either yes or no.
No.
Okay.
It's the best of it.
Thank
you,
My daughter doesn't have load to carry. Praise the name of Jesus. But if you really love the person, Web said, must forgive. And if you're able to see yourself with anyone else, and as Sister Thelesha so rightly said, you can seek medical, what again you said? Attention and advice and things like that. Because I've heard of situations where people were sick on their last dying bed, and this person so loved them, and they're married to them right there on the dying bed. So love covers a multitude of sin. Alright? So if you really love that person, and you can't see yourself without that person, love is a feeling that sometimes you can't ignore, you can't live without, you can't, it's something dear to you. So you really love that person and you want to be with that person, you can forgive them, move on and figure out things as you go along. Because every day you learn something new. You figure out things that work along with that person. If you really and truly love that person. That's my point on it. But it's a hard task though.
We can 2 for 1 games, let's go.
I feel that you can marry. Yeah, Danny.
Okay, so for me, I'm not the type to give up on people. So. I'm not the type to give up so easily. So it's a kind of iffy situation. If it was, as you say, innocently, then we would just have to work through it, you know, take the necessary precautions, as everyone said. But if it's on the other hand, where they were unfaithful, yeah, they would have to get themselves in order. I don't know. Yeah, they would have to figure out things for themselves and, like, you know. But yeah, that's it for me.
Maybe you in the bad. Okay, that's way.
That is fine.
Yeah. Oh, is the last one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I always admire persons who can do these things. I've seen situations where persons marry somebody who is in prison. You know, maybe they come out, maybe they don't come out. I see people marry persons who are handicapped. They know the person is handicapped, and they go into the marriage knowing that they have these things that I have to deal with. The person can't walk, they have to drive them around, like they can't see or can't hear, whatever. That is, to me, good expressions of love. And even in a situation like with this, the person have HIV, if the person is willing to be with the person, I commend them on that. The only difference is though, with the HIV or AIDS, or whatever, it could be an STI as well. Me being at risk of getting the infection or the disease will weigh a lot on my mind though. Because somebody's handicapped, that's different. You know what I mean? It does maybe a burden for me, but to get the risk, and then you know, some persons get the HIV and it comes to full-blown AIDS, while others can have the HIV and just be a carrier. Right? I don't know how you're gonna react to me. The love of God really is supposed to be in my heart, so if I love the person, I would go through it. But it's very hard to, I might say this now, or maybe at the time I just might say nothing. I can't take on that risk. Alright, so it's a very difficult situation to consider, I must say. I like to hear what she has to say. But if I was infected, I not like Fayon. I want the person behind this case.
Right, you know about
Yeah, Magic Johnson, Magic Johnson, come Magic Johnson did get the HIV and his wife stood with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That did you know.
I was looking through something here the other day, and this young lady, husband was really botanizing her, and she get encouragement to leave, and then she get encouragement again to go back, and when she go back, she dead. She lose her life. So I want to know from anybody here tonight that if you know something is wrong and you go and involve in it, would you be termed as suicide? I want to know, and if you be termed as that, would you be saved?
A tough one. So he wants to know if you were in the situation and you left, and you go back into the situation, if you would be termed as suicidal, because you know what the circumstances was when you were in there, and you got the opportunity to leave, and you went back into the situation. So would you be termed as suicidal? And he wants to know if you gone back into the situation, you are now suicidal, quote unquote. If God, we say God would forgive you for that? Yes.
Because we know it should be God, only being the presumptions that God will protect you.
Yeah, but God of a second chance.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, for example, and he didn't give an example really, but if you were in an abusive relationship, you said it was an abusive relationship? Okay, yeah, so the man banging the woman, banging you every day. You end up in the hospital a few times. And you got the opportunity to leave. Maybe you went to a shelter and wherever at the shelter you had a change of heart again, or somebody talk to you, tell you, go back to your husband, and you go back to your husband. So would you be termed as suicidal? And if yes or if not, would God, forgive you for stepping back into the dangerous situation?
Okay, I would say some people listen to change, but they only quiet down for a time, and then over the period of time they go back in that same behavior again. So I would not encourage anybody to, number one, to stay in an abusive relationship, and never mind to go back into it. You're free. I can walk back into, as he said, you're being suicidal. It's just like in the Bible, when Elijah, the Lord take my life now, because he thought he was the only prophet there. That is like being suicidal. You're walking back. I agree, some people do change, but some don't change. They only quiet down for a period of time, and then that spirit come back on them again and they behave the same way. So I would not encourage anybody to go back into any suicidal relationship, because you're not even sure if you're going to get a second chance to walk out. So I would not encourage anybody to go back in an abusive relationship like that.
Abuse can be.
Huh?
Abuse don't have to just be hitting. Abuse can be verbal.
Can be verbal as well,
So
too.
if you- So. So, some persons feel that not hitting is only the abuse, but verbal, if you constantly having a verbal abuse every day, so you wouldn't tell the person to leave, or just, try to do things to avoid the verbal abuse. How'd that go?
I would.
Because as every marriage, you have tongue and teeth must knock, something must happen.
I agree.
You may want to give up, but then
If you really want a relationship to work,
then you work on it.
probably you can work on it or seek some counsel, maybe from the pastor or whoever, or even some senior some senior elders in the church, who may be able to advise you how to treat your wife or treat your husband and things like that. So I wouldn't really just go and say, well, give up, because every minute there's a flare in the somebody flayed up and I'm giving abusive words, as I said. So sometimes we just have to sit down and talk about things and trash out things instead of always just exploring.
Anybody else?
I wouldn't call her suicidal, but this situation have a lot of variables, because first you have to find out if she was concerned, if she had help, if they had marriage counseling to reconcile, was she given the false hope that he's gonna change when she went back, or if it happened today, she moved out one night and went back. So if it's so much variables, but some person go back to abusive relationship because of fear as well, and they really have strong fear for the person that they will probably hurt them even though they are far away. And some person for them to start back over is really hard for them. So they prefer to just go back and suffer with the person, because at least they have a roof over their head, at least they have money, and then they probably get attracted to the abuser in a real severe state, and maybe she didn't consider that she might become unalive from this situation, and probably she just had hope that he would change as well. So it's kind of ticklish, as we say, but if you know anybody, you try to encourage them to seek help and not to rush back into a situation like that, because it could cost them their life.
Right. Alright.
Oh, yeah, I agree to say Sister Thelesha. That's my contribution, is that it's a lot of things you got to find out about the situation. There are different forms of abuse, and there's cause and there's effect as well. But the Bible speaks of, even for marriage, separation. So even for boyfriend and girlfriend, the Bible has room for you separating yourself from persons if based on certain things. Not to say go be married if you're married, or that, like, state that path. All right, but yeah, if the abuser is gonna destroy you or destroy your life, it is advisable your pathways. All right, but reconciliation is always something which is good. The Bible says He gives us the ministry of reconciliation. So depending on some persons behave a certain way because that's the only way they know, and they could be taught differently. But also, Sister Elsie rightly said, some persons just don't hide their behavior, and it comes out and manifests itself on certain circumstances. So they might could now cover it back, but really that's their true nature. You have to pray that God can give the spirit of discernment and know the difference between the two. Because somebody can do a bad act doesn't mean the person is a bad person. Maybe there's a sight being done. Like they say, somebody said this is father's sons, the fathers behave a certain way. So they continue the same behavior, thinking that mommy take it on, so why wife shouldn't take it on? But realize that is a foolish cycle in perpetuating or continuing. So in getting knowledge, you break that cycle. And persons, there are benefits of reconciliation as well. So I don't want to throw that out the window, because the Bible says love to cover a multitude of sin. Yes.
Saying that verbal, people are verbal youth.
Well, that is.
Yeah. All the time, saying the same thing over and over. Would you don't believe that that person gonna look for the easiest way out to harm you?
That our situations are the same way. I'm saying it is no blanket statement I can give you to say it will happen this way in all circumstances. It can happen based on what you're asking, and it could be that in a situation where you just gonna put a stop in the person will continue. Yeah.
Okay, you is a teacher.
Yes, I also.
I am not. Okay? You go to Bastille High, and every time you go to Bastille High to teach, right? There are somebody in that school decide, I'm going to kill Dalton. Would you accept to stay in that situation in that school? Because of it's just a verbal thing, so I'm going to stay.
I've been threatened by the teacher, student, or higher ups, whatever. Some became my friends, and some stayed away. But God protected me. No, not necessarily. Because I just can't decide not to.
Where are you teaching now?
Well, I did not move because I moved away of myself. I was transferred.
No, if you in
But if you asking me a question and I'm trying to answer you, but you're not listening what I'm saying to you. I'm saying to you, it had happened. I've been threatened by student and teacher. Sometimes you do call the police, something I did. Others I saw it as an empty threat. There was just something that it was just words deep, nothing else. He went no further than words. Yes, sometimes I was in fear. Other times I realized it just was something to get me off their case. And being persistent, I didn't come off their case. Right? So, those times when I was in fear of my life, I would have sought redress from the higher ups. Other times, I just put it to God, and I never chose to move I didn't choose to go any elsewhere. Why would I put it to God? Because I put everything to God. No, why would I do that, Brother P? I took it to God because God is the one who answers my prayer.
You see, we have the understanding of what we
And God solved it for me.
Yes, I think.
We don't just say, well, it's all right, and we must forgive and things. If I'm not supposed to say they're gonna harm you, and they constantly don't go in front of them.
Yes.
But some things are unavoidable, Brother P. Even if you don't want to go in front of them, they could come in front of you. It's a threat. But at the end of the day, God who resolved everything for me.
Yes.
God solved everything.
Yes, and I think what are we trying to get persons to just run away from, this situation, whether it's verbal or physically abusive. But as Sister Thelesha rightly said, Brother Dalton, there are a lot of variables. So it's not one answer for the same scenario, not one answer. So it all depends on a lot of different variables in the story that would determine your reaction. Because I know some persons who are in an abusive relationship and they got out and they learned how to protect themselves and either went back or learned how to live with the person because they don't know how to protect themselves, or they put certain things in place now that they are not so fearful of the person. So people have sought counseling where both of them go to, whether it's a marriage counselor, whatever type of counselor, and the person, decide to change their ways and they live together peacefully. So it's all a whole lot of different, circumstances. It's not just one should fit all. Okay? Thank you very much, everyone, for your participation. Thank you for the panel. Thank you to all the youths tonight for such a wonderful discussion. Thank you, Pastor, for the opportunity that we can have these discussions. And we now turn the rest of tonight's service into the hands of our pastor.